What is up, you guys? Shout out to GamesAreForYou for the suggestion and Enya for help building this deck. Queen is a 4-life, 5,000 power leader with one convoluted effect. If he has a Dawn attached, when you attack, you can draw a card if you have less than 4 cards in your hand and life pile combined. However, if you control an 8-cost character, instead of drawing, you can add the card to your life. So what are we able to do? Well, my first idea was to make it like the blue Ivankov leader with all the Impel down cards. There are a lot of really solid options pertaining to having very few cards in your hand, so it works out. Unfortunately though, they don't have an 8-cost character of their own, and in the end it felt like I was just playing the promo Luffy with an extra restriction. Then I considered the cross guild stuff, since they still do a lot of drawing and discarding, but with some built-in protection with the Kraken Mihawk, which is an 8-cost character, which means you can use your leader's effect to gain life. Here though, I found there wasn't enough generic support. A lot of it needs your leader to be named Buggy, so I felt there wasn't quite enough upside. I think both of these engines are really interesting and give different playstyles that I still enjoyed, so I wanted to mention them for you guys. With the help of one of my subscribers on Discord, we were able to throw together a more cohesive list. If you guys want to talk theory with me and get in on other behind the scenes action, you should join my Discord too. I'm always just a click away. The very wise Enya pointed out that the new Kuma and Sabo from OP12 both have effects to become 8-cost. It'll be important to be low on life and cards in hand, so blockers are going to be vital. Kuma is great because he can give you extra life cards on demand, pairing great with any low-cost blocker on a late game turn. He also discards, which is really useful to help you situate your hand. The 5-cost Sabo is a great card to drop as early as possible, since you will need to rid yourself of your own life cards to get your leader's resource loop started. He also stays 8-cost, which is really handy compared to Kuma, which only boosts himself to 8 for one turn. The other 8-cost characters I play are Katakuri and the Rush Luffy. Katakuri is just awesome. He can remove any 8-cost character your opponent controls, or give you an extra life if you need it. The 8-cost Luffy is used for removal as well, able to bounce a 4-cost character by discarding a card. He also gives one of your leader or characters a rested Dawn card, so you can use your leader effect and still drop a 2-cost character. A card I really like to drop early on, solely because he goes neg 1, is the 2-cost Teach. This guy can put a card from your hand on top of the deck in order to reattach 2 rested Dawn. This is useful for putting on extra pressure while you wait for your opponent to wear down your life cards. Zeus is a card you can use to rid yourself of your life cards yourself if your opponent is trying to starve you, but also it's just great for removing your opponent's board. In the late game, your leader can give you a life card every turn, so dropping Zeus becomes pretty free. Using him to remove a blocker and then rush Luffy to remove another one can devastate your opponent's defenses and clear the way for victory. To pair with all the life cards you get, I play a lot of triggers that play themselves. The 3-cost Charlotte Brule is great. You can play it early in the game and hold on to it, and ripping it late game is insane. The 4-cost Sanji is the same way, but you can attack with him too if you need to. You might think it's a little awkward that he has to discard to use his trigger, and I will agree, but it can be really useful to get your hand size down too. I play the yellow 0-cost event because often in the endgame, you'll just keep looping your last life card, so you'll have so many chances to rip this off the top and gain another life. Not to mention, it's very useful for countering and getting your hand size down. I also play Frankie for another 2k since he can easily play himself and replace the card in your hand, so he provides a lot of aggressive value in the late game. This blue Sanji is another great blocker to throw down early because with 1 Dawn, he becomes a 7k swing. Peijo is great because it's a 1-cost blocker and a 1k counter, so you can just pitch him if you need to. And Shirahoshi is just the GOAT, you'll almost always get value out of it. I think it's one of the best blockers in the game. Gravity Blade Raging Tiger is the last card I really want to talk about. This deck doesn't feel like it does much until the late game, so you'll need cards that feel like you're cheating. Your opponent controlling one big character isn't the scariest thing in the world, because they could swing for 1 million power and you'll still only take 1 life, and you can gain a life card every turn. It's usually your opponent's smaller characters that give you a hard time, so Gravity Blade can reset their field. I like to go first because it feels more natural dropping your blockers on curve, and I'd also rather start attacking before my opponent. On your 1 through 6 Dawn turns, it's all about dropping your blockers and not using them. In most decks, I don't counter out of the first few attacks because I want to build hand advantage. But in this deck, it's the opposite, so I'll counter out of the convenient 5k and 6k swings your opponent might toss into your life. Other than that, it'll be about dishing out your lower cost blockers to reduce your hand size, which are really important for protecting your board mostly. Since your leader limits you on hand and life count, you won't be able to keep many counters in hand, especially since you also want to hold on to your beefy 8-cost characters. Letting a Kuma die is fine, but you should feel comfortable occasionally blocking to protect your Luffys and Katakuris. Having these blockers up during your 7 or 8 Dawn turn, especially a Sabo which is already 8 cost, feels great because you have a good amount of field presence to where dropping Gravity Blade doesn't hurt you when your opponent claps back with 9 to 10 Dawn. Despite the fact that you want to lose life, you want to make sure that your opponent can't build up a ton of attacks against you. That's why Gravity Blade is so strong in my opinion, and I would also target all of my opponent's characters for attacks instead of just pushing for their life. You don't mind giving them life with Katakuri because if you take it slow and wear them down, you're getting a free card every turn with your leader, and your opponent just can't keep up with that. Eventually your opponent might wise up and stop attacking your life, which is exactly why you play your Sabos and Zeuses. With Zeus you can both pop their active characters, reduce their total cards, and keep an extra card in your hand which can still help you counter out and protect your characters further. You actually get so many life cards, you'll start to feel like you're playing a Nell with blue added in. I genuinely thought I was going to hate this deck, that it would be breaky and impossible to survive once you hit 10 Dawn. The reality is, this deck has so much going for it, and the extra card advantage and defense that you get from your leader effect will actually outpace your opponent in many cases. If you can keep clearing their field, they'll only have one attack, and your opponent can never win. I hope I did this deck justice. I was extremely surprised and totally think this deck is underrated. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe, it really helps me out. And let me know what decks you want to see me cover next. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.